How about one last MBR for the road? I just want to start this video by giving a huge thank you to my patrons. Thank you for helping me to pursue my passion. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizard of the Reads. And as always, guys, I am Andrew. And today we are doing the November MBR here for you on the channel. But before we get into any of that, make sure you're liking and subscribing, hitting that bell notification so you can get regular updates for when I put out new content. Also, make sure you're checking the description box down below for the link to the Wizardly Duo Discord, links to all my social media, including information about my Patreon. And guys, it is a kind of interesting MBR because literally at the start of November, I move. Actually, technically at the end of October, like 10:30, I will be moving. So this is actually the final video that is being recorded here in this setup. You will notice that I have videos coming out afterwards. That's all pre-recorded stuff. I just cleared the backlog so that you guys wouldn't really notice a transition. Basically, the videos will start coming out and then boom, I'll be in a new location and hopefully that's a pretty seamless transition. But yeah, this is the final video being recorded in this particular house. And so I've got an ambitious MBR here. I've just got a whole bunch of stuff that I want to get read. And yeah, we'll see how that works out for me. So starting off, I should probably do the patron stuff. As always, one of my patrons always gets to select a book off my TBR for me to read. It jumps straight to the top of the line. And what won is The Threads of Fate Reincarnation, Book 1 by Michael Head. This one is narrated by Travis Baldry. I'm going to be doing this one on audio because it is a Travis Baldry. I think this is just going to be a lot of fun. Something about a 600-year-old man who's been reincarnated into a younger body and then has to act like he's not a 600-year-old reincarnated person. So there's a lot of fun to be had in this story, and I'm hoping that I'm going to enjoy this. Then the patrons also voted for us to, read a book, or at least have me read a book, and then they can choose to join me if they so choose. And what they selected was Book 1 of the Ren War Saga by M.L. Spencer, and this is Dark Mage. I have been wanting to read this book for forever, ever since I read, which one was it? Chains of Blood by M.L. Spencer. I accidentally started the sequel series before the original series, so this has been a long time coming. I've got a review box set of this on ebook. I've also got the audio, so I am planning on doing an immersion read for that one. Then we've got some digital copies and some judging stuff that I have to get done. In terms of digitally review, I have got The Old Universe, I believe it's called, by Forbidden Origins, that I am planning to read here in November. And then for my Indie Ink read for the month, I'm going to be doing Along the Razor's Edge by Rob J. Hayes. It's been a while since I've read some Rob J. Hayes because I really enjoyed Never Die, and it's just been a while since I've read some of his work, and I'm really looking forward to this. Now, physically, I have also got a stack of bookums here. I don't know why I said bookums, but we're going with it. I ended up pushing this particular review copy because I read another book last month, or I guess I should say this month, by this author. I ended up reading Thrice instead of Deeper Faith, so I'm going to be reading Deeper Faith in November. This is by my buddy Andrew D. Meredith. I just love the way that Andrew writes. Basically, I just kind of sink into his stories and experience the day-to-day lives of these characters and their interactions and relationships, and it's just so immersive for me to just get in there and read his stories. So I really enjoy that. I then would like to read a Cyberpunk book because it's not something that I usually reach for. And I've got this one by Jacob Markov called Zeroed Out. And basically this is a cyberpunk. It takes place in like a city called, I believe it's Omega City 6. Freelance enforcer Zed Takada stumbles on the first of many victims of an unknown serial killer. So serial killer, murder mystery, cyberpunk setting. This sounds good. I've been meaning to get to this one for a while, and I think hopefully I can find the time to fit this one in. All right, next up, we have got the final book in the Shadow campaigns, and that is The Infernal Battalion. I am currently about 50% into Guns of Empire. I'm enjoying it. Again, another 4-star read from Django Wexler. I've heard mixed things on The Infernal Battalion, but we'll kind of just see how I feel there. And then I have also started Enemy of God. I haven't quite gotten into the meat of the story, but that means that next month it is time for Excalibur by Bernard Cornwell. I'm looking very much forward to reading this one, I should say. So far, this has just been an absolute banger of a series. And there's a quote on the cover that says, "Of all the books I have written, these are my favorite," by Bernard Cornwell. And I can see why that's the quote, because there's just so much love and just care put into these stories. I absolutely love just Durful and Arthur and everybody in these stories and their interactions and the way the story is told. I highly recommend the audiobooks by Jonathan Keeble. Fantastic stuff. Next up, we have got Winter's Heart. We are in probably one of my least favorite books of the slog of the Wheel of Time. I have yet, at the time of recording, to read A Path of Daggers, but I am planning on getting that in. This is very much a Perrin-focused story, but I think this is the book that kind of jars Perrin out of his kind of just trudging story rut, and then we can kind of progress with him to become the character that I love towards the end of the series. And then continuing on with the read-along, because I've already read Fortress of the Pearl and Elric of Melniboné. It is, what is this one called? The Sailor on the Seas of Fate. Those long titles always give me a lot of trouble, but basically I will be reading the third book in this collection of Elric by Michael Moorcock. I am currently reading this with Liam from Liam's Lyceum, Joanna, Sarah, and Evie. I love this series. Very, very great kind of exploration of classic darker fantasy. Then I've got a buddy read with my buddy, the Boiled Jellyfish. He asked me to kind of slot this one in for November because he gifted me this gorgeous copy of S.A. Tholen's Iron Truth. This is the winner of SPSFC 1, and I've been looking forward to it. It's kind of a sci-fi with some horror elements. That just sounds fantastic. It's a bit of a beefier book, but if I love this, I need to go ahead and pick up the other three. Guys, this is probably one of my most anticipated reads for next month. Well, that and the next two. I'm actually looking forward to the next two a lot as well. So, all right, let's see. What's next? This is one that I've got a review copy for book 2 because I'd already purchased book 1. So I need to read book 1 so I can get to my review copy of book 2. Fantastic cover art here. I've talked about this one before. It's Divinity's Twilight Rebirth by Christopher Russell. This is kind of like I think this is a sci-fi science fiction type of deal. On the back of the book it says, "A world consumed by war, an ancient evil resurrected, a millennia-old bargain comes due. Victory is never absolute." This just sounds awesome. I've seen the cover for book 2. It's absolutely gorgeous, and this, again, is another one of my most anticipated reads for next month. All right, and the next one I have got to talk about is courtesy of my buddy Scott, the Bald Booktuber, and he's been talking a lot about Robert McCammon, and specifically, I believe he read this one. This is Speak the Nightbird. This is books 1 and 2 of, I forget the series name, but it's a historical thriller type of deal where this takes place in, like, revolutionary America, and it just sounds awesome. I've got the rest of the series already. Well, I need to pick up, technically, the third book, but then I've got everything that comes out after this. I have heard nothing but good things, and I've also got this on audio because I believe the audiobook was nominated for an Audio Award, which means it's a very good audio production in order to get nominated for an Audie. But I don't know, like, I've been wanting to try Robert McCammon, and I feel like this is going to be a good place for me to start. So we're going to try and get in Speaks the Nightbird. And this is a collected 1-2 punch. And then we've got Judgment of the Witch. So that kind of implies witch trials, and then we've got Evil Unveiled. So that just sounds interesting, and it just says excellent right there on the spine by Stephen King. Speaking of Stephen King, I read a lot of King last month for the Stephen King readathon that was hosted by Jake the Book Strummer, but I didn't get to Stephen King's revival, and this is one that I've heard really good things about. It's one of his best of kind of the recent decades, and I kind of want to give that one a shot. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I mean, it's King, so I'm probably going to have a good time. At this point, King is my most read author, I think, of all time, or he's probably tied with Jim Butcher right now, but soon he will be my most read author. And then next up, I have got, of course, J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. I just kind of randomly restarted this series a couple months ago. I just picked up The Hobbit because I was in a slump, and then that led into Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship, and now, of course, it's time for The Two Towers. I was not planning on restarting this series, and then I just kind of fell in love because Tolkien's still relevant, the storytelling is still beautiful, and I just have a lot of love for the series. Alright, and then finally, I've got a couple review copies that I would like to get to. We've got Creatrix of Strife by D.C. Allen. Let's just take a look at this cover. We've got this kind of clock tower swirling in. We've got some people striking some, like, fighting pose, and then, like, this looks like somebody doing a Kamehameha at somebody. This is by D.C. Allen, and the blurb on the back that immediately caught my attention is "Stand in hell, but reach for heaven." And this just sounds awesome, and it sounds like there's some cultists who are, like, science-worshipping cultists who are awaiting the return of, like, a deity or something. They live beneath this poisonous volcano. I'm just really looking forward to this one. It's a novella. It's pretty short. I should be able to get through this one pretty quickly. And, yeah, I am looking forward to this one because it just looks super cool. And then finally, I have got No Land for Heroes by Cal Black. This is a Gaslamp and Western fantasy. A, I love Gaslamp. And B, I love Western fantasy. I love this cover, and it says, Mildred Barry is down to her last 4 bullets. In a Wild West where the only things more dangerous than outlaws are dragons, Deputy Barry is struggling to protect her town and keep her family fed. This sounds outstanding. So when the author reached out to me and was like, hey, I noticed you like some fantasy westerns, I was like, you know what? You're right. I do like some fantasy westerns. So this is definitely one that I am now all of a sudden looking even more forward to. I don't know why I didn't say this wasn't one of my most anticipated, because look, she's carrying a 6-shooter. There's a dragon in the background. She's got an axe. This just looks awesome. Fantastic. Killing it with the cover and killing it with the blurb on the back, because I am now so much more excited for this. Even though I knew what this was already about, I just psyched myself up here on camera for you guys. That said, I did do another help video this month, and the winner of that one was Dragonwing. That's the first book in Death Gate Cycle. That is going to be started probably sometime in February. There might be a small buddy read going on for that. So if you are interested in that, let me know in the comments down below. And of course, I can open up channels in the Discord for you. And that said, guys, that is all I have got here for you. So till next time, peace out. Stay magical. Bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons.